Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Joanne. This is Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And answering your email, you said you offer semi-private and private tutoring for writing and reading TOEFL IBT only. If so, what website can I go to know more of the details? Please help me, I'm so desperate. I'm going to say kind of. My website is set up, my online TOEFL course is set up, Joanne, so that 80% of what you do is all independent self-study, especially the reading. The reading is something that you really have to work on your own. I mean, a tutor, it's not really productive to have a tutor help you with the reading. The tutor can give you some ideas and tell you what you need to do and can give you reading practice tests and such, but ultimately you're the one who has to do that practice. My feeling is the tutoring or semi-private tutoring works the best with the speaking and the writing sections, because it's those two sections where you need the feedback. You need to get direct feedback from an IBT specialist who can tell you what score you're getting, why, and what you can do to get better. So that's where I see the tutoring coming in with the TOEFL. And let me give you a little bit of information about my website. For the writing area on my website, I have about 14 hours of video instruction, and then you have 10 independent and 10 integrated practice tests. So what you do is you complete some of my writing practice tests, and then you get some feedback, and then you review specific lessons to help you get better. Now, I do have an additional service. My online course does offer, Joanne, 330 lessons or 170 hours of instruction, and if you want, and this service is only $35 a month, by the way, so it's not very expensive at all. Now, I do have an additional service where I will correct all the errors in your essays. And I usually have about 5 to 6 students who use this service each month. But if you want really individual feedback, for example, if you do purchase the additional service, I can offer you up to an hour of additional instruction for each essay you submit. I will correct every error. I will go over your thesis, your topic sentences, your supporting detail, and I will tell you exactly why you're getting the score you're getting. And of course, I will also recommend specific lessons you can focus on to improve. So, like the writing section, in my speaking section, I also have I think it's about 10 to 12 hours of video instruction to help you organize the independent and integrated writing tasks. I'll even, when you complete my speaking practice test, I will give you some audio feedback and sometimes video feedback as to what you can do to get better. Now, I also have, with my speaking, I do have kind of what's called semi-private or private tutoring, where when you complete a practice test, either pronunciation or speaking practice test, I will give you additional feedback there. Now, this is an additional service I offer with my online TOEFL course, but for you, I would recommend that you subscribe to my course first, and then when you complete some of my pronunciation, speaking, or writing practice tests, at that point you can make a decision if you want to invest in more specific help in those areas. Now let's talk about reading for a minute. Reading, I'm going to just give you some basic ideas. I mean, reading is something that you need to work on pretty much on your own. But there's really 4 basic things, Joanne, that you need to do if you want to make a difference in your reading score. I will tell you in order of importance. The first thing you have to do is to read extensively for about 45 minutes each day. You want to do this for a period of several months. You should be reading magazines, newspapers, and most importantly, longer books in English. This is very, very important for you. This is really how you make your progress with reading. This is called reading extensively. Again, when you're doing this type of activity, I don't advise you to stop. When you see words you don't know, that's not the point here. The point is to get your mind used to reading in English for longer periods of time. Remember that the TOEFL is a very rigorous examination, and the reading section is probably one of the most difficult in terms of your concentration. So that's really my first recommendation. Now, number two is to study vocabulary. This is in addition to your reading extensively. You should be studying some lists, vocabulary lists, of both basic and advanced vocabulary. Number three, you have to get familiar with the reading strategies for the TOEFL exam. You want to make sure, for example, you know how to answer main idea questions, you know how to answer detail questions, organization questions, rhetorical questions. You want to make sure you're familiar with how to complete schematic tables and charts, because these are multi-point type questions. So it's very important that you get used to the strategies. Now, a lot of students, this is where they begin their TOEFL study. They don't really study the vocabulary, the extensive reading. They go directly to the test-taking strategies, and then of course they start taking the reading practice test. But that's not enough. Remember, extensive reading is first, then vocabulary, and then your IBT reading test-taking strategies. And finally, you need to take some practice tests. Now, one of the biggest problems with students with their reading in general is they're reading too slowly. And the slower you read, the more distractions you're going to have. The more distractions you have, Joanne, the lower your comprehension. So what you want to do is to improve your reading speed, and that improves your reading comprehension. It'll make you a much stronger, more proficient reader. So in my online course, I do have a series of academic speed reading tests that will take you from 100 to 350 words a minute. Now, this is very, very important for you to be able to improve your reading speed. Now, remember that you improve your reading speed so that your reading comprehension is about 80% of what you're reading. So if you can read 350 words a minute and you have 80% comprehension of that, that's going to be very, very beneficial for you, not just for TOEFL, but for whatever reading you need to do in the future. So those are my basic recommendations right now with your reading proficiency. And remember that with the writing area is a combination of you completing the independent and the integrated reading practice test. You get some feedback, you'll get a score, you review some recommended lessons, and then you try again. Remember that just practicing writing in any form, even if you keep a journal, is going to help you. So I hope I've given you some good comments right now to try to get you going in the right direction. Remember that practice, there is a saying in American culture, it says practice makes perfect. Now, I'm not saying that if you practice you'll get 120 out of 120, but the more you practice, the better your TOEFL score is going to get. Alright, at this point I'd like to invite you to become one of my newest subscribers to my online course called the 7-Step System to pass the TOEFL IBT. If you want to learn more about my system and my online TOEFL course, below this video just simply click on that link. It'll say www.bettertoeflscores.com, and that'll take you to my online TOEFL course, and you can learn a little bit more about it. And remember that in addition to the 330 lessons I offer in my online TOEFL course, I do have 2 additional services to help you if you think you need more help with your speaking and pronunciation and also your reading proficiency.